Hello there you guys, welcome to another my live video. So just going to give you my match reaction for the AZ Alkmaar Manchester United game. It did end in a goalless draw. We do still remain unbeaten in the Europa League, but we know that these performances and these results are just not good enough to our current standards. This evening, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer went with a 4-1-4-1 formation. He went with David De Gea in goal. He went Diego Dalot at right back. He went with as a centre-back partnership, he went with Lindelof and Marcus Rojo. At left-back, he went with Brandon Williams. In the midfield, it was Matic. On the left, it was Daniel James, Fred, Angel Gomez and Juan Mata. And up top, of course, Mason Greenwood. So now I'll give you my full analysis on the game. I've just watched some of the highlights, and I've got to say it is the worst performance of the season. I don't even think in this particular game, we even had a shot on target. Couldn't keep hold of the ball. Lacked creativity. Couldn't string many passes together. And actually, AZ Alkmaar, were unlucky, not to win that game this evening. Obviously, David De Gea, had to produce quite a few world-class saves. Maybe there was a good couple of individual performances. At one point in the game, showed a lot of attacking intent. In certain points, we did keep the ball well, but for large periods of it, we was very, very poor and that. But like I did say, now the pressure, will mount up more on Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because the performances are not good enough, the results are not good enough. We're not scoring enough goals. Maybe in certain games, we seem to be creating chances, but we're just not being ruthless enough in front of goal. And I think now we've played 10 games in all competitions so far this season, and we've only registered around 16 points from possible 30 in all competitions. So I think we've won 4 in all competitions, we've drawn 4, and of course we have lost 2. But I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to last at Manchester United. I do believe he will be gone by Christmas, because I did say if we do continue this bad run of form, I think he will be gone by Christmas. Even though we don't want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer to be sacked by the football club. And like I did say, due to our inconsistency, like I did say, everyone should take the blame. But I think the vast majority of the blame does stem from the board, because obviously the board weren't ruthless enough during the summer. They didn't obviously get all the players that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wanted to recommend to the football club. And I think Ed Woodward and that he's still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and he's still convinced that he can turn things around at the football club and that. But like I did say, reflecting on the history of this football club, also reflecting on the amount of money that's being invested into this football club, we should be much more of a commanding position than we're in now and that. But yeah, it's just not good enough, to be quite honest. I think we're tactically inept as well. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tactics are questionable. I think there's a lot of players, underperforming out on that pitch. So yeah, a lot of the players also, do have to take responsibility. But like I said, Solskjaer has been at Manchester United now overall for around 10 months. He's nearly been at the football club a year, just under a year as well. Don't forget, we recommended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in December of last year, following the dismissal of Jose Mourinho. And obviously, don't forget, he did really well in that 3-month period. Did Solskjaer, when he was the interim manager, he exceeded expectations in that. The results were good, the performances were good, and he was getting the best out of these group of players. But since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer got the job in March earlier on this year, everything, of course, has just seemed to have all gone wrong. And I think now Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's record after 28, 29 games, it's been proven that his record is worse than Jose Mourinho's and that. So yeah, like I say, I'm still backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as how long he is, Manchester United manager. I know the vast majority of the fans now anyway, demanding him out of the football club. They've also been demanding Ed Woodward out of the football club. They've also, criticising the Glazers. But for me, I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is good enough, to be a manager, because he hasn't really, got that managerial experience in that. Like I said, he won a couple of Norwegian titles with Mould. He got Cardiff relegated. Solskjaer only had a really short tenure with Cardiff and that. He had that proven pedigree as a player, because Solskjaer was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. But I have got quite a lot of concerns about him. But Solskjaer is obviously our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. And I did say, we're not really known for the sacking club, despite the fact, we've already sacked 3 managers, since the Alex Ferguson era, and that, we've had different managers with different philosophies and that. And I said I want Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure, to become successful at Manchester United, but obviously, I don't think it's going to happen. But I think, getting rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, obviously won't solve the problems at Manchester United. Like, Roy Keane was saying on Monday Night Football after the 1-1 draw with Arsenal, he says Manchester United, need to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, more time. We need to stick with him, and we do need to give him at least a couple of windows, to make further more investment. So see who else, he can recommend into the football club. Because analysing it, the majority of this squad is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. And obviously, like I said, we're enjoying our worst start to the season, worst start to a Premier League season in 3 decades, and this is not good enough, for the club of our size. We're sitting 10th in the league. We've only registered 9 points in the Premier League, in 7 league games, and that is obviously nowhere near good enough. And like I said, there's certain games this season that arguably, Manchester United should have won. Maybe we should have won on Monday against Arsenal, because I thought the performance was better against Arsenal. I think there's been about 3 games in the league this season where we've been winning 1-0 at half time, but obviously, we've obviously failed to win them particular games. But like I said, in this game this evening, like I just said, I just watched some of the highlights. Like I said, David De Gea had to produce some world-class saves. I think, Fred had an okay game tonight. I don't think Fred was too bad. I thought Matic, was really poor again. Dan James, did okay in moments. Lingard, I think, he went off injured, did Jesse Lingard in the game. Actually, Solskjaer brought some substitutions on in the second half. I think, Rashford came on for Daniel James. Also, I think McTominay came on for Mata, and Jesse Lingard, of course, came on for Mason Greenwood. So they were the 3 substitutions, that did come on in the second half. Obviously, we still know that we have got a lot of injuries. Obviously, it confirmed before the game. Obviously, Paul Pogba did confirm he would have been missing the game, because obviously, he's out due to his recurrence of his foot injury that he did sustain in the 1-1 draw with Southampton back in August. So I think Paul Pogba is being further assessed. Obviously, Martial and Luke Shaw both missed the game. Obviously, I think Solskjaer's also confirmed that they are huge doubts for Sunday away at Newcastle, and they've been 2 big misses of Martial and Luke Shaw, because obviously we do know how imperative them 2 players are. Martial now has missed the last 6 games for Man United. Also, Luke Shaw has missed the last 6 games for Manchester United in all competitions. So they are both doubts for Sunday. Solskjaer's confirmed. I'm not too sure about Paul Pogba. And obviously, we've got other injuries. Obviously, Wan-Bissaka is out at the moment with illness. Hopefully, he can be back for Sunday. Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, I think he's suffering from tonsillitis, is Wan-Bissaka. So this is why, obviously, he missed Arsenal. This is why he missed the game this evening. It also confirmed that Ashley Young didn't, play this evening. Well, he didn't even travel with the rest of the Manchester United squad. Don't forget, Phil Jones didn't play this evening because he's obviously not out with injury. So yeah, we've still got quite a few players out with injury and all that. But these performances are just not good enough. And like I did say, I haven't really seen much improvements under Solskjaer, than what I saw under Mourinho, Louis van Gaal, and of course David Moyes. So like I've said, so far this season he's replicating what I saw last season, and what I mean in that aspect is that I haven't really seen much improvements this season, than what I saw last season. And last season was bad enough. We finished 6th. Obviously, we failed to qualify for the Champions League. And if we continue this bad run of form, we could enjoy a worse season this season than what we saw last season. But for me, definitely further more investment is needed in the squad. I think we need at least 3, maybe even 4 world-class players. But yeah, so you can still quite frankly say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United squad, because I credit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in certain aspects. Like I do keep saying, he did recommend 3 good players to the squad throughout the course of the summer. We spent obviously around nearly £150 million on 3 players, on Dan James, and Wan-Bissaka, and Harry Maguire. And obviously, we have seen glimpses of what good signings they've proven to be so far. And obviously, it's good in the aspect, that we've addressed some of the problematic areas. We've only just addressed that central defensive area. Obviously, we did get that experienced centre half in. Obviously, we got that right back in. But there's still areas where Man United are lacking. I think we definitely need at least a couple of midfielders, because that midfield area is one of the priority areas where Man United need to strengthen up. I think we also need a right winger. We also need a striker. Maybe perhaps we do need a fullback. But yeah, we definitely need to recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because we are now short in that attacking line. Obviously, following the dismissal of Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, we need to recruit a replacement for Ander Herrera in that midfield. So I think we need to give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at least a couple of more windows. But like I said, we haven't been competitive enough, in the last 3 to 4 windows. If I'm going to be quite honest with you, and analysing our recruitment policy, it isn't too good, to be quite honest with you. But it isn't just good. It isn't good enough, to be quite honest with you. And like I said, we've got to be ruthless in the next couple of transfer windows. But obviously, with our failure to qualify for the Champions League. Obviously, and that was obviously, going to be hard for us to attract players to the elite level. Because I did say, during the summer that a lot of players, would have had an element of concerns about joining the football club. But I think already Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is making plans for the window. I think also Ed Woodward is making plans for the January transfer window. And I think, Solskjaer, wants to continue the policy of signing them young British players, like he did do, throughout the course of the summer. And I still believe now, as I say to you, that there is more problematic players at Manchester United. I know we got rid of a lot of, the deadwood, throughout the course of the summer and that. A lot of players have now left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. But I still believe there's certain players we need to move on in January and, of course, next summer and that. Because analysing our squad, it is a pretty decent squad and that. But obviously, they're just not, playing properly. They're not playing together, they're not gelling as a team properly and that. Like I did say to you, we have still got a lot of young players in the squad, that are developing and trying to improve. Obviously, we have got a lot of experienced players and that. But my overarching view on Mason Greenwood is obviously he didn't score today. But he did score in the last 2 games. He actually, did start for Man United, obviously against FC Astana and Rochdale. And Solskjaer recently, gave his more overarching view on Mason Greenwood. And, to be quite honest with you, Mason Greenwood's only just turned 18 years of age, and obviously he needs to be given time. I still believe Mason Greenwood, can become a success at Manchester United. By the time he's, 23, 24, I think he can, become a world-class centre forward, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Obviously, don't forget he only made his full debut for the football club at the end of last season, the 2-0 home defeat to Cardiff. But yeah, he's a very, very good player. And I think at this present time, as I do keep mentioning, he's a much better solution than Marcus Rashford. Obviously, don't forget Rashford's recently, had a groin problem and that. Don't forget Rashford did come on, like I said, in the game in the second half. But I don't think Rashford, looks fully fit in my opinion. But like I did say, these young upcoming players, do need to be given time. I don't think all the young upcoming players, will become a success at Manchester United. It may only turn out that Mason Greenwood, does become the successful one. Like I said, quite a lot of Man United fans have got some element of concerns about certain young upcoming players. Maybe some have said maybe we should orchestrate on loaning some out. Maybe we should. Because it'll be beneficial for their career, and obviously in that aspect, it will gain them more experience. But anyway. Anyway, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has got a lot of faith in his young upcoming players. But yeah, maybe some of them, do need to be given time. And obviously, talking about Marcus Rashford, like I said, I think he's endured a really difficult start to the season. He did well throughout pre-season, did Rashford. He also did well in the opening day against Chelsea, but since then, he has struggled for consistency as Rashford. Don't get me wrong, he's still a long-term solution for Manchester United, in my opinion, and Rashford, does need to be given more time, because he's obviously, only 21 years of age. Don't forget, Rashford so far has spent the entirety of his career with Manchester United. Obviously, he's been a United player since the age of 7. He's been in the senior squad, since 2016. So, in my opinion, Rashford, does need to be given time. With Jesse Lingard, I think he's been really, really poor as Jesse Lingard. And, I still say it's a long-term solution for Man United. He's enjoyed a really, really bad start to this season. Reflects on Jesse Lingard's status at the football club and that, he should be, putting much more better performances out. Definitely. McTominay, I know he didn't play this evening, but analysing his performances so far this season, I think, he's been mainly consistent as McTominay. I think he probably, will play in the game against Newcastle on Sunday. I've been very, very impressed with McTominay. If in regards to him being the long-term solution for Man United, obviously, I have got element of concerns about that. The question is, can McTominay, keep the consistency up and that? And I hope, that he can, to be quite honest with you, but he has deserved to keep his place in the team. Obviously, he's played mainly in the Premier League, so far this season. He has actually, for the majority of this season, been playing alongside Paul Pogba and that, but recently, due to Paul Pogba's absence, he has been playing alongside Nemanja Matic quite a few times. And with Fred, like I said, he did okay. He did the okay this evening. Fred needs to, be given more time. We need to see more of Fred this season, like I did say. Fred's only been at the club, since last summer and that. So we need to see, how he goes on throughout the course of this season. I think he's had a good couple of games, so far this season, to be fair to him. But again, I've got the same thoughts about Fred of what I've got of McTominay. I don't know if he's a long-term solution for Manchester United. That's my opinion on that. And we paid just under £50 million for Fred, don't forget, last summer. Fred was an exceptional player at Shakhtar Donetsk. He's mainly enjoyed a difficult time at Man United in comparison to his time at Shakhtar Donetsk. But for me, Fred does need to be, given more time. You need to be giving her more time and that. I'm actually surprised this evening that Sergio Romero didn't start in goal. I thought he actually would have started in goal because usually Solskjaer goes with Romero if it's a Carabao Cup game or a Europa League game. Obviously Romero is our second choice keeper. Obviously he played in the Rochdale and the FC Astana game. Harry Maguire obviously was rested. Obviously we've rested him for Sunday and that. Obviously we paid £80 million for Harry Maguire in that. And like I said, I feel like the club, overpaid for Harry Maguire. But, we're known for doing it in recent years anyway, overpaying for players and that. And obviously, when it comes to letting them go, we let them go for next to nothing. And, there has been prime examples of that this summer. But I think Harry Maguire anyway, settled in, really, really well. I think Lindelof, maybe he should have been rested, but I think the only reason Lindelof played is probably because of the absence of Phil Jones. Because of the absence of Phil Jones. There again, he could have put Alex Tuanzebe alongside Marcus Rojo, but obviously decided not to. But yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of problems at Manchester United, that do need to be addressed in that. So what is it, what do we need to do? I think we definitely need to get rid of more players in January and next summer. We definitely need to get more players in January and next summer. Maybe we also, maybe need to get rid of Solskjaer, recommend someone else in. I think, the board do need to assure structural changes at the football club, whether they assure these structural changes or not, I do not know. As I said, a lot of Man United fans are demanding Ed Woodward out in the football club. But like I said, this is just not acceptable, to be quite honest with you. And I think, a lot of Man United fans, were saying last season, towards the back end of last season, I also said the same thing. Maybe we did give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, the job too early. Maybe we should have waited until the end of last season, or we should have waited at some point until this season, to obviously, decide whether or not, to give him the job. But yeah, I think we did give him the job too early, because obviously during that 3-month period when he was the interim manager, obviously everything went really, really well. Obviously he won his first 8 games, like I mentioned. We won 14 out of 19 in all competitions and that. But since the moment he got that job, everything of course has just seemed to have all gone wrong. Our away form's absolutely terrible as well. We haven't won away from home, since the PSG game last season. When we did obviously produce that miraculous comeback. That's obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as manager. Our home form, has also, been very, very poor. But yeah, I just think, things are going to get, worse with Manchester United. But like I said, even though we've had a bad start to the season, I still think these certain players that have played quite well. these certain players, of course, that have obviously, played quite well in that. But like I did mention to you, the majority of this squad is not Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. But like I did say, the managers now that do want more time, they never get the time that obviously, they are demanding in that. Because obviously, reflecting back under the Alex Ferguson era, don't forget, he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. But we know back in the old generation that, the boards were nowhere near as ruthless. Now, like I said, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years when we recommended him in from Aberdeen, back in 1985, 1986. But then look what he did after that 4 years. Look what he went and accomplished. We had 20 odd years of success under Alex Ferguson. And obviously, regardless who our manager is, no one is going to ever follow Alex Ferguson's legacy. We're never going to, replicate, what we did under Alex Ferguson. Like I just said, regardless of who our manager is. And I did say I hope now this team at this day and age, can replicate, what the team did under Alex Ferguson. But like I said, for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure, to become successful at Manchester United, like I said, he's got to exceed expectations, and obviously he isn't exceeding expectations now. I did initially say it at the start of this season, and I said it towards the back end of last season. The expectations this season will be to finish in that top four. So obviously, we can't get back into the Champions League. But the way things are going at the moment, we're not even going to finish in the top seven, let alone the top four. But I did initially say our expectations in the next couple of seasons probably, will be to finish in that top four and that. And obviously, because we know our squad is nowhere near good enough, to mount any kind of title challenge up or, of course, win the league. But, we have got massive ambitions for the future, and those ambitions is to get back to winning silverware and being back competitive in that. But we are years away, of course, from doing this. But Solskjaer, obviously does want to succeed at Man United. Obviously, he wants to bring that winning mentality back to the football club, and he wants to bring that fear factor back to the football club. But we know none of them have been there since the Alex Ferguson era. So we have been playing catch up for the last 6 or 7 years. But yeah, and I think, the style of play is also very, very bad now under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. The style of play was atrocious under Mourinho. Under Mourinho, it was part of the bus football. Obviously, back under Louis van Gaal, the football was turgid. But yeah, I just don't know, to be quite honest. We know that obviously, there's been, there's been a lot of reports coming out from the Italian press, quite recently, about Massimiliano Allegri, the former Juventus manager. Now, there has been talks about him possibly coming in to Manchester United if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is to be sacked by the football club. Now, obviously, do you think Massimiliano Allegri would be the right man for Manchester United? Obviously, he's never ever managed in the Premier League. He never played in the Premier League. Massimiliano Allegri has spent the entirety of his career, managerial career in Italy. Obviously, spent the entirety of his playing career in Italy and that. But, most of his silverware he won obviously was at Juventus. I think he served around 5 years with Juventus. Obviously, he did win, quite a lot of trophies. He won, I think, 5 consecutive Serie A's. He obviously got Juventus to 2 Champions League finals and all that, did Massimiliano Allegri. So reportedly, we have made him our primary candidate to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at the football club. And I do believe I think he's in his mid-50s. Is he 54, 55 year old or something like that? But yeah, would he be the right man for Man United? Could we possibly reignite our interest in Pochettino? Because don't forget, before we recommended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in, after the sacking of Jose Mourinho, obviously, we was in for Pochettino for quite some time, and obviously the time we was in for him, obviously Pochettino didn't have any intentions of leaving Tottenham. Obviously, as you all know, Daniel Levy is a hard negotiator, and a lot of people believe, that Mauricio Pochettino would suit the strappings of the club and that, even though he hasn't won out yet in terms of silverware, but he's well Premier League proven. He's good at developing young players. Is Mauricio Pochettino. So, if he was to be sacked by Tottenham, do you think he'd grasp the opportunity, to come to a massive club like Manchester United? Even though we have been a toxic club for the last 6 or 7 years, we are still, a big club, historically, we are the most successful team in England, historically, obviously, 20 titles and that. But yeah, we just can't put up with this anymore. But like I said, obviously the vast majority of Man United fans want Solskjaer out. Like I said, you'll still get certain Man United fans, backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and that. But he's already like I said, he's making plans for the January window. Obviously, he's got a couple of players on his agenda, who he could go for in January. I think we are orchestrating on spending another substantial amount in January in that. Solskjaer's obviously looking to recommend the striker in. I think he's also, looking to bring a midfielder in and that to the football club. he's obviously, looking to bring a midfielder and that into the football club. But I think, the players, we was in for during the summer, probably will reignite our interest in some of them in January. Probably, we will leave some until next summer and all that. But yeah, I think there's definitely more players that do need to leave the football club without a shadow of a doubt. I think Matic is a problematic player again. He was very very poor today, especially in the second half. He's too old now. He's aging up. He's 31 years of age. He's Matic. Obviously he's got under a year left in his contract. His contract expires at the end of the season, his current one, but the club do have an option to extend his contract by a further year. And I think Matic needs to leave the football club. Marcus Rojo, now, obviously, he's done well in the games he has played in this season. Obviously, he's predominantly a centre-back and that also can play as a full-back. He'll get his opportunities, more in the cup games and that will Rojo. But obviously, I still think he needs to go. We can cash in for Rojo in January or next summer if we can get rid of him. He's got under 2 years left on his contract. Don't forget, Everton had inquired about getting Rojo on transfer deadline day, but obviously his move to Everton never materialised. I think quite a few other teams, of course, went in for him. Phil Jones, I think he's another problematic player at the football club. Jones has been a long-serving player at Manchester United. We have got quite a few long-serving players at the football club still. There's still some players here from the Alex Ferguson era. Jones is still here from the Ferguson era. Young's still here from the Ferguson era. De Gea's still here, from the Ferguson era. But yeah, Jones and Ashley Young have both been two long-serving players here. They're both now in their 9th seasons as Manchester United players are Jones and Ashley Young. Jones signed a new long-term contract last season. Ashley Young signed a new 1-year extension last season. But I think, Ashley Young needs to be moved on at the end of the season. Obviously, he's past his sell-by date as Young. He's 34. I think he's 35 next year. And Jones, obviously, he's aging up himself. So they're definitely another two players that need to go. With Eric Bay, I think, if the right offer came in for Bay, I think the club, probably would consider offloading him because obviously Eric Bay, he's too injury prone. He's got great potential when he's fully fit and he does hold his line really, really well. But he never really plays because obviously the amount of injuries he does sustain and that is obviously not out now until the end of December, or is it the new year? Eric Bay, of course, he's out till. So he's another player I think maybe we should consider offloading. But yeah, these still problematic players and that at the football club. And like I did say, with Chong, my overarching view on Chong, I know Chong didn't play this evening, but maybe we should orchestrate on loaning him out because Chong is totally comparison to Mason Greenwood. Chong is only 19 years of age, like I said, he needs to be, given more time. Chong's played in a couple of games this season and that. Don't forget, he received loan offers this summer from PSV and his former club, Feyenoord. Did Chong, don't forget, he said the other week that he was actually, in negotiations with the football club over a new contract. But yeah, maybe we should, orchestrate on, loaning him out and all that. But yeah, like I said, a lot of money's been spent at Manchester United, in the last, 6 or 7 years. A hell of a lot of money has been invested into this football club, I think it's around, £800 million that's been spent in all the managerial eras and that, obviously since the Alex Ferguson era. So we spent just under £1 billion, I think, on players. Obviously, that's, not taking into account, what was spent under Alex Ferguson. Obviously, if you want to take into account what was spent under Ferguson, obviously it's way over £1 billion that the football club have spent. Also, we have got players now on big contracts. Obviously, I'm happy that we did sort a lot of the contract renewals out and that. Obviously, we got there was a lot of. Well, there's quite a few players that, signed new contracts that were currently in their last years of their deals. Obviously, De Gea did it, Martial did it back in January, Rashford did it, earlier on in the summer. But, we're a massive club and we've got massive revenues and obviously, we can overpay for players, we can give players big contracts and that. You've got De Gea on on £375,000 a week, he's the highest paid goalkeeper in the world. You've got Rashford, who's on over £200,000 a week, he should be putting much more better performances out. You've got Martial, that's obviously on around £200,000 a week. You've got Paul Pogba, he's on just under £300,000 a week at the football club. So yeah, we have got players on big contracts and all that. The club is still giving Sanchez, £300,000 a week, despite the fact, that he's on loan with Inter Milan. But yeah, it's just not good enough. So for me, things that need to improve at Man United. We need to be more clinical in front of goal because we just don't seem to have that clinical element. It was a similar sort of thing last season. Last season we only managed 53 goals in the Premier League. We need to start scoring goals. We need to get better results in that, and everything just seems to be all going wrong. And I think that, what I'm witnessing so far this season, this is even worse than the David Moyes era. And the David Moyes era was absolutely bad. Obviously David Moyes, is the manager. He's the manager, to have the shortest tenure with the football club since the Alex Ferguson era. Don't forget Moyes only lasted 10 months at Manchester United and that. But I think this is the worst. I'm enjoying. It's the worst in 30 years. This is the worst start we've had to a Premier League season. Of course, in 30 years. Don't forget. Like I said though, we've done quite a lot of mistakes over the years, and that, I think one mistake we did was letting Ander Herrera go. We should have never let him go on a free transfer, because you could arguably say he was one of our best players since the Alex Ferguson era was Ander Herrera and that. I think also it was a mistake. One mistake Alex Ferguson made, obviously was appointing David Moyes in at the time. Obviously, when Ferguson retired, obviously he recommended David Moyes in that, because obviously they were both Scottish. Obviously they got on really really well in that. But I think if we'd have got Mourinho after Ferguson's retirement, arguably it would have been a different sort of scenario. Now with Manchester United, we did get Mourinho in, but I think we appointed him in too late, to be quite honest with you. In that, Mourinho was regarded as one of the best managers in the world back in the day, and that back in the old generation. But I think we appointed him in too late. Jose Mourinho. Obviously he had the 2.5 year tenure at the football club, did Mourinho. Obviously, so far the second longest serving manager, since the Alex Ferguson era, and that he served 2.5 years at the club, Mourinho. He won the Europa League and League Cup with us in his first season. But I've already explained the reasons why it didn't work out under him, because obviously he had bad disputes with the board, he had bad disputes with the top players. Obviously, he had bad disputes with the top players. There was no sort of, the philosophy wasn't right, the brand of football wasn't right under Jose Mourinho. So these are the reasons, why it didn't work out under him. And obviously the board weren't backing the signings that he wanted to recommend into the football club last summer. But yeah, these are the reasons, why it didn't work out under him and that. But I think, we're lacking leadership in the team. I think we need to recommend someone to come in, who's better at taking set pieces. And we need to get a striker in there. We need someone, of course, that can score his goals and that, because we are lacking in that attacking line. And a lot of people said when Sanchez and Lukaku left, we are lacking in that attacking line and that. So obviously, I think Solskjaer is looking to recommend a striker in, of course, in January. He's looking to recommend a striker in January. But now, we have got games coming up thick and fast. Newcastle on Sunday. Newcastle on Sunday away from home. After Newcastle international break, then we go to Liverpool at home, and then I'm not too sure who it is after that and that. But we have got our games coming up thick and fast. Don't forget, like I said, I think we're good enough to win the Europa League. Don't forget we won it a couple of years ago. Back under the Jose Mourinho era. We did beat Ajax, by 2 goals to 0. But yeah, this is just not good enough, like I said. And there's nothing much really more to say, to be quite honest with you. Obviously with Pogba as well, I think Pogba is definitely going to be going in January. If he doesn't go in January, I think he'll definitely go next summer. Obviously, recent reports have speculated out saying that obviously Pogba is demanding a substantial 600 grand a week from the football club. If he is to renew his contract at Man United and all that, I can't see Man United willing to meet those wage demands, even though we've probably got the financial power, to meet those wage demands. And I think Man United have recently discussed with Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, obviously, to renew his contract and obviously to discuss about his future and that at the football club. But I still believe, Paul Pogba wants out of the club anyway. 600 grand a week equates to around £30 million pounds a year. And obviously, Paul Pogba on his current deal at the moment is on around 290 grand a week. So in that aspect, he's one of the highest paid players at the football club now as it stands. Paul Pogba's got 2 years left on his contract at Manchester United with an option to extend it by a further year. Obviously, Paul Pogba now is into his 4th season as a Manchester United player since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. And obviously, he's mainly enjoyed a difficult time at Man United, in comparison, to his time at Juventus, because he did have 4 good years in Turin. There was rumours about him going back to Turin earlier on in the summer. He was subjected to intense speculation. He actually, was mainly relentlessly linked with move to Real Madrid and that. But I think Real Madrid are going to definitely reignite their interest in January. Obviously, Real Madrid spent a substantial amount themselves during the summer. They spent around £300 million on 5 players and that. But yeah, Paul Pogba still does remain on their agenda. And, Paul Pogba did classify Real Madrid as one of the biggest clubs in the world, and he did say at some point in his career he does want to play for Real Madrid. But, we were very adamant he wasn't for sale during the summer. We did quote out that if we had to sell him, we wanted around £180 million. Obviously, Real Madrid were not willing to pay that and that, so that was a stumbling block of Paul Pogba making his move to Real Madrid, reflecting on the substantial amount, we did put on him and that. And Solskjaer does know how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. Paul Pogba's won the Europa League with us in the League Cup. That came in his second season at Manchester United. But Paul Pogba did confirm back in June, which was early on this summer, he said he wants to leave Manchester United. He publicly admitted it, and he did say he was seeking for a new challenge in that. And we have seen Paul Pogba at his best as a Man United player. You mainly see the best of him when he's freed up. He's arguably one of the best midfielders in the world when he is at his best, but he has been mainly inconsistent, and he hasn't performed to the standards as we all expected this season and that. But I still believe he'll end up leaving the football club without a shadow of a doubt. Don't forget PSG with him for him as well. Allegedly agreed to move to PSG on transfer deadline day. Barcelona of course inquired about getting him, so there was a lot of talks about him leaving early on in the summer. There was a lot of talks about him leaving last summer, reflecting on his poor relationship with Jose Mourinho. But I do believe, he still wants out of the football club. But for me, in January, we've got, like I keep saying, we've got to get, a midfielder in, at least one midfielder. We've got to get a right winger in. I think we've also, got to get a striker in. Like I did say to you on my last video, and recent reports have indicated out, saying that, we're intending on spending up to £90 million in January on Lyon's Moussa Dembele and, Newcastle's Sean Longstaff. Don't forget, there's other players that have been mentioned as well who we could go in for. We could go in for James Maddison, Jadon Sancho. There's been talks about Christian Eriksen, don't forget. So these are players Man United could go in for in January, and maybe we will leave some until next summer. But for me, Solskjaer needs at least a couple of windows, and I think, Ed, obviously, we didn't get that direct to the footballing during the summer as well. That's something else, that could have gone against us. Because I did initially say that's one of the structural changes we do need at the football club is obviously, getting a direct to them of footballing and that. And I did say we needed to recommend someone in who's obviously reliable to obviously our transfer business. Ed Woodward, of course, is keen on appointing a new sporting director in, like he was obviously earlier on in the summer. He's spoken to a few former Man United players about, where roles and that at the football club. But I think everyone's to blame, for our inconsistency. But in my opinion, I'll stick to what I say. I think the vast majority of the blame is the board, because I think the board of reliability, if I'm, going to be quite honest with you. But yeah, Solskjaer's definitely, got to take some responsibility. Like I said, his tactics are questionable. I think the personnel does seem to be there, which is one good thing in that. But, we're tactically inept, and he's making the wrong decisions and that. And, I just thought he's not going to succeed at Manchester United and that. He's not going to, follow Alex Ferguson's philosophy, obviously. But I think us getting rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, at Christmas or before Christmas or at this moment in time, I just don't think, would solve the problems at Manchester United, because you can't just blame, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's, it's a lot of players that are underperforming, it's a lot of players that are underperforming. Like I said, the board, Ed Woodward as well. But you'll still get certain Man United fans, backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But Solskjaer did say as well prior to the game that obviously, he had concerns about, a plastic pitch ahead of the game. So obviously, that could be an excuse. He does use in his post-match interview, the playing surface wasn't good enough and that. And I mentioned to you, didn't I, before the game, that I said AZ Alkmaar is going to be a tougher test than FC Astana. I also said, Partizan Belgrade is going to be a tougher test than FC Astana. But for me, we've got to get in the top four this season, or at least, try and win the Europa League or try and win something. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is to last term at Manchester United. But I think, we're not going to give him a couple of windows, because I think, if the board basically will just get sick of him, really, and we'll just end up, sacking him and that. If this had been another manager now, I think, he probably, would have gone, or would have been at least one match away from getting the sack. Obviously, we're, softening our stance on Solskjaer, because obviously, he was a club legend, we all love him a lot. But if this was obviously Pochettino now in this position at United, or any other manager, I think, they would have been gone by now. But, yeah, I think, he probably will be still here by Christmas, but he could be gone. Well, I think he will be, but, obviously, he should be gone by Christmas, according to a lot of Man United fans anywhere. A lot of industries even believe, he could be gone by Christmas. But we need to see a better performance against Newcastle on Sunday. Newcastle have enjoyed a pretty bad start to the season. They've only registered 5 points from 7 league games. They're sitting 19th in the league, so they're sitting in the relegation zone. Obviously, they got Steve Bruce in early on in the summer, and let's be honest, Steve Bruce, he's a poor manager, to be quite honest. He was a great player when he played for us back in the day, but he's not really a good manager in that. Rafa Benitez did resign back in June, earlier on this summer and that. And that's mainly everything to update you with. So that's your match reaction, and that's obviously everything else, to currently update you with. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe, as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.